I'm Melissa Reyes, and I'm happy to have with me the author, Mimi Barbour. Welcome, Mimi. How are
Hi
you?
there. I'm good, thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Mimi is coming to us on 10 Minutes in Tinseltown from Vancouver, and she is here for our author showcase. So I just wanted to say hi and welcome, and thank you for taking some time with me on 10 Minutes in Tinseltown. So, and especially on this exciting day for her, because you have a launch. She has a launch of a book series that came out today. So we're going to talk about that later. But Mimi's been heard to say, "I'm an author who loves to read uplifting stories about romance, add in some time travel, or maybe an angel, or even a little romantic suspense, and it makes the story more fascinating because of the incredible possibilities." Mimi is an Amazon best-selling author who sold over 500,000 copies of her books worldwide. She has 5, maybe 6 now, romance series. And tonight we're going to talk about a couple of her latest ventures. So welcome, Mimi Barbour. And you're just always so pleasant and thoughtful. I was telling my friends at work today that I just kind of feel like you're just an angel that's always there ready to say hello. And I started reading one of your books today, and it's really good. You're a really great author, and I want to know so much. But why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself? Tell me what do you stand for? What brought you to this point? Don't tell me your whole history, but just like what makes you you?
Oh. Well, 67 years of living, I guess, helps. Um, I don't know. I think that when I write my books, I can get my characters to come alive. They do for me anyway. And I like to write normal people. I don't want heroes who are just, so great that there isn't a possibility of a man living up to that type of to that level. I just want people who are real and who are lovable and who have problems and they deal with them in the best way they can. And I like happy ever after, so of course I write romance.
Do you live through your characters, or do your characters live through you?
Oh, there's often remarks that'll come out when I'm writing, and I have no idea why they come out, and then I remember my dad used to say that, or my husband says that, or so sure they come through me a lot of the characteristics. But I think they're people I'd really like to know myself. Most of the characters, not the villains, of course, but even they are. I try to put some kind of where at the end I don't want people hating them. I want people to maybe understand why they turned the way they did. I don't know.
uh, Kind of an insight into what happened, what went wrong, or
Sure,
where
sure,
they turned the wrong fork in the road or whatever.
for sure.
Took a
I
wrong
know I've
step.
gotten some reviews from people who read the Vegas series, and one of the reviews, or a few of the reviews I loved, was when people said that they never thought they could like the villain, the rapist, but in the end they actually had pity for him, and they felt that the ending for him was exactly what should have happened. And it made me feel good because I thought, well, then I wrote him properly. I didn't just bring people to a point of hating him. I think I got them to maybe understand why he became the person he was.
I just started reading the prequel for that series today
Oh,
because I
good.
found that on Kindle, and it was kind of a quick read to get started, an introduction to your series, the Vegas series. And
Want me to tell you
so
a
I
little
really
story about that? It's
yes,
a good
that's what I was going
story.
to say. We have a Tinseltown tale, I think, or a
Yeah,
Vegas tale. So
there you
tell
go.
me the
10 minutes in
story.
Tinseltown. Well,
Yeah.
actually, what
So what
happened is I was writing the angel stories and the spirit travel stories, and my sister, who is a real suspense reader, she said, I really want to read your work, but I can't read anything but suspense. I don't enjoy anything. I said, fine, I'll write you a suspense. So what I did is I started the Vegas series, and I used all her children's names as the characters. And so I thought, okay, now you
Oh,
have to read my books, right? Because I used your children's names. So, and that's exactly what happened. She did read them, and she loved them. So turned
oh
out
my
that I got a new
goodness.
reader.
Wow. So let's see, there was Corey and Debbie, and are those the ones?
Yeah,
And
Corey's her
Aurora?
son. Aurora
Rory.
is her granddaughter, and Kai is her grandson. And so, I mixed them all up, but I really love the names Aurora and Kai, so it
Yeah.
was easy making them hero and heroine. So it's
Does
good.
Aurora like to be called Rory? Obviously, I've
She's
only
only
read the
about
book.
11 right now, so I don't know if
Oh
she will one day.
Oh, that's just so clever of you, though. That really
Yeah.
is. And so that's interesting. That really does kind of go to how the characters can come to life just from your own life. And then you come up with these stories. Do you dream your stories or do you plot them out or do you just start writing? What's your process?
I it's funny. One line can make a book. I was driving home one day with my husband, and I heard a song by Elvis called "She's Not You," and that line that says, "And it's breaking my heart because she's not you." It stuck with me. I could not get it out of my head. And then when I wrote the first chapter of the book, it went away, and I could finally finish the book. So that's my Christmas book in the 10 Christmas Brides series. Um, but it's those type of things that happen to me, and a book all of a sudden appears in my head, and I have to get it out. I have to write it.
um, so tell me about the 10 Christmas Brides series
Oh,
that
I'm
is
so
available starting
excited.
today on Amazon.
I know, and you know
Oh,
what? The last time I looked, it was at number 66 on Amazon. Like, that is so
wow.
excellent. It is so cool. We
Oh,
had a Twitter party today, and my gosh, the tweets were going so fast I couldn't keep up with them, and everybody was having so much fun, talking and visiting, and it was really great. Tomorrow we're having a Facebook event, so if anybody wants to join in, all kinds of prizes and free giveaways, and you'll get to talk to all
oh,
the brides. So
all the brides, all the
yeah,
brides authors, all the brides, the characters.
nope, all the
Well,
brides
so what
authors.
is
There's
yours?
10 authors.
Uh-huh. And yours is the Elvis one?
Mine is actually from the Elvis series, and if you look at the cover of the book, I'm right at the end. I'm the last book in the box collection, but that's
Oh,
okay. It's a beautiful collection, and the authors, a lot of them are USA Today authors, New York Times authors. So, it's an incredible deal for people. It's a wonderful gift for people. So I think it's
that's
doing
so
very well.
That's fantastic. That is really I only have written one book and it's nonfiction, so it's kind of like um, seeing how much work you put into the marketing and the ideas that you've come up with in order to really promote your books. That has that been a long journey? I mean, how did you get to where
Well,
you are today in that?
oh, it's funny. I usually tell people if they ask me about, being an author and everything, and I say to them, are you willing to take on like 5 and 6 careers? Because today, to be an author, you almost have to. I mean, you have to be a bookkeeper, a promoter, an editor, a formatter, and you have to write a darn good book because there's so much competition. But the
Right.
promoting, I hated it when I first started. I hated it with a passion. And now, you know what? I'm passionate about doing it. I'm getting so that I really like it.
Oh.
I think anything you get to be good at, you start liking. And I'm starting to
Yeah,
get pretty good at it.
yeah, well, that takes a little perseverance and drive because
Oh, yeah.
everybody says you should do what you love, but what you're talking about is you needed to get good at that to do what you love.
Mhm.
right? Or to be successful at what you love doing. So it became part of the process, and now you like doing it. That's inspiring.
Yeah,
I
it
find
is.
that really intriguing.
I think if anybody today wants to write a book, they have to get their toes into that social media. That pond is so big, and if you don't make any wave at all for yourself, nobody's going to find you, and nobody's going to know about the book you wrote. So it's, you know, and even if you go with a traditional publisher, they expect nowadays for people to have a name, to have some kind of a presence out there.
Do you have a publisher, or have you had a publisher, or are you all completely self-published?
I used
What
to
was your
write for Wild Rose Press. The very first books, the Vicarage Bench series, was with the Wild Rose Press. And I had a wonderful editor, Nan Swanson. And, you know, the ladies that work Wild Rose Press are fantastic. Anybody who's starting today who just knows that they can't possibly do the promoting and all the other work, you probably want to look at going with maybe an ebook publisher, and Wild Rose is one of the best in my books. I think they're wonderful.
hmm. So, but how, let's see, how do I phrase this? What what made you want to go into self-publishing, knowing how hard it is? Is it to have the control
The
or
money.
the
I mean, it
money?
was,
That's
yeah,
where
it
the money
was,
is.
that's where the money, well, it used to be right now with the Unlimited coming out, it's made things a little more difficult. But there's so many,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, there's all the different venues that you can put your books on, and you just have to work it. You have to get out there and have people know who you are. And the 10 Brides books are, for me, one of the best ways that I can get my work out there to as many people as possible. You know, I get reviews where
Sure,
people
because
say,
you're
I love
sharing.
this book and I'm going to go and get more, and that's exactly what I want to hear.
That's fantastic. Well, that, sharing that set with the other authors is like being in a tribe because you are sharing the followers of all of the other authors and you're introducing and really supporting each other. And that's a whole different way of promoting yourself. I think it's a very nice community that you've built with the other authors. Do you ever get together in person?
I've only met
Get
one
to
of
meet
them in
each other?
person. Yeah, we went to the RWA convention in San Antonio this summer, and so I got to have
Hmm.
breakfast with her and her husband, and she's lovely. Rebecca York, she's the New York Times USA Today's best-selling author, so I was thrilled.
Oh.
It was lovely.
Wow. Wow. I bet she was thrilled to meet you too. You're just so delightful, Mimi. So how many
Thank you.
books have you written in total? How many books have you written over your lifetime so far?
I think it's at around 24 now. I'm not sure.
24?
I lose count because I've put so many box sets out, you know, where I've connected 2 or 3 books and put them out together. So,
Yeah.
yeah. The
So,
new one coming out is called Special Agent Finnegan. The first one in the Undercover FBI series was Special Agent Francesca, and it did extremely well. It was very popular. And so the second book in that series is going to be released on, I think, the 30th of October. And I'm really hoping that that the fans really like it.
oh my gosh. So, how do you choose, or I mean, let's see, how did you start writing mystery and suspense and crime drama, I guess, or, how did you get into that FBI kind of thing? Is it because it's what's hot, or is it just something in you,
Well, when I
that you've
started
always, have you
the
ever been a cop?
no, no, I have a webmistress, Ray Monet, who was a FBI officer years ago, so she's
Oh, okay.
excellent. And I have a few friends who are police officers who help me, and they laugh at all the mistakes I make. But you know, once I started that suspense series to get my sister to read something I wrote, I just found that I loved it. I love the fast pace. I like the conflicts, the constant conflicts. And there was no worry about sagging middles or anything. I just couldn't get enough. In fact, I had to sometimes cut out some of the plots because it was just like bang, 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 and it was too much. You know, the readers have to have a sort of a
Wow.
downtime a little bit. So,
Wow.
yeah, I love it. I find that those books flow so quickly. And even in a suspense story, there's always a way to put out something to make people think a little bit, to make sense to somebody, to maybe help somebody who's in a situation that they got the right words at the right moment reading my book, and that would just be so
Yeah.
fabulous.
Oh, well, you definitely have a way with words, and I can see that you have a message. So when I forgot that you had just told me that your sister really is the one who got you started with suspense, because that's what you wanted her to read. But before that, the angel and the spirit travel and are you very spiritual at your root?
I'm probably very spiritual. I'm not very religious. I find
Mm-hmm.
there's a difference for me, but I'm very comfortable.
Sure.
And and so my angel stories are, I love them. It's so fun to write about something that I can imagine almost happening, because my angels are really sort of like characters. They're like normal people who become so close to the heroine or the hero, that
Mm-hmm.
they're believable. In my mind, they're almost believable, especially Lovable Christmas Angel. My angel there was a man, a Hawaiian, an older Hawaiian man called Pi, and he's just an absolute sweetheart. And even though he was an angel through the book, he really just took on a character sort of role that I found him, in my own mind, I found him very believable as just an ordinary person, and yet he really was making things happen in the background.
Oh my gosh, that sounds fascinating. I can't wait to read that one. Well, you were saying how hard it is to do all of the promoting and that it makes you want to do computer side. Like it just like can drive you nuts. What is your biggest challenge? Would you say that's your biggest challenge? I mean, what is your advice for people who are just pulling their hair out?
Well, for me, the computer side comes when my computer just isn't going as fast as I want it to go. And my husband keeps saying I've got my desktop. It's so loaded that it takes so long for everything to, come up, that it's my own fault in a way. But yeah, I guess that's what the frustrating thing is when I want to move, I want to get this done, and then I want to move over here, and it's just lolling along, and I want to take a hammer and just smash the darn thing. But
Oh,
I don't.
well, no. Well, I really give you credit though because that is just amazing that you do all of that yourself. It really is. I mean, that anybody who can write as well and as much as you and you're doing all of that behind the scenes work. You're working really hard and how you have your characters have a voice that's American English. That's very much like, regional. How do
Right.
how have you gotten that grasp on all your characters' voices
Well,
being
I'm
so
very lucky to have an
authentic?
incredible proofreader, Leandra Hayes, and she's
Okay.
totally an American proofreader. So I
I
get
think she
such
asked the
a
question.
giggle from her because she's constantly scratching something out and going and saying, in the U.S. we say it this way, or this is the way
Okay.
Americans would say it, and I love her for it because I want that voice. I want it to sound like I am from Vegas, and I love Vegas. I love that city.
Uh-huh.
I think I could almost live there. Well, maybe not.
So, so that's interesting that Leandra asked about your Finnegan character too. Who do you base is that your newer character, Finnegan?
That's right, Finnegan O'Reilly. And the reason I call him that is one night over supper, my husband said, I'd like you to write me a book about an Irish character who owns a pub in New York. I said, would you like to name him for me? And he said, how about Finnegan? I like that name, Finnegan. So, okay, I said, what about the name of the pub? So over time, we eventually came up with O'Reilly. So the next special agent book is called Special Agent Finnegan. So,
Wow.
and you know what? I love the fact that he actually is a special agent for the FBI, but his father owns an Irish pub. And so a lot of the action is taking place in the pub. And Finnegan's father, who he calls either the Joker or the O'Reilly, is an absolute, I mean, I couldn't have had more fun writing a character than I have writing him. He was such a easy one to write, and one I hated to say goodbye to when the end finally came along. I just didn't want to leave him.
Oh, oh my gosh. So that sounded like a tall order that your husband had, but he knows that you can just craft it up and make it amazing. He has a lot of faith in you. That's pretty neat.
Well, I like doing things for him. He's a sweet man. He brings me a drink every
Oh,
night, makes me supper every night, so he deserves it.
my husband does that too. Well, he doesn't bring me a drink. Well, he'll bring me a drink, yeah, if I ask him, but he's so sweet. And how long have you been married?
Since 1967. I don't want to, I can't
Wow.
remember how many years that is now. It's close to 50, I think.
That, that's
It's 47
47
years?
years.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, that's 47 years. That's fantastic. What a role model you are. And so, do you have do you have a standard for your characters in your books where they, like you said, you like a happy ending? What's a happy ending for you? You know.
Um, well, I guess we're, through the whole book, I have a goal or a motivation. It's more of motivation that the characters are motivated to act in a certain way. And it's something deep inside them that's pushing them to behave the way they are. And in the end, I want their motivation to have changed so that they become like better people. Better people because they've met each other and they have now the chance to have a better life because they'll be together.
That's so beautiful. You know, I'm a life coach, and a lot of times people are searching for that, and they don't know how to put it into words, but what it is that, they need to feel fulfilled in their life and to feel like they have a purpose. And, I try to help people to realize that it's in here, and it's about the people that we love. And,
Mhm.
and being a good person. So that's really nice. What are you most passionate about, Mimi? What is the thing? Um, Obviously, I would think that it's writing, but try answer something else. What is it in your own life, in your own personal life, that you're passionate about?
I guess maybe just being a good person, trying to help other people. I have old folks and I just love them. I absolutely adore them. My dad is he's such a funny man and
Oh,
my mom is such a sweetheart. She's like a little girl now, you know. She loves to have people petting her and telling her, "Oh, you'll feel better tomorrow," because she's always got something wrong. But
oh,
I mean, she's just such a little
yeah.
sweetheart. And so, you know, they're very important to me. And my husband's mom, she's 89 now and she's getting feeble. So I love spending time with her and taking her for lunch and taking her shopping for new purses and slippers. And she's so cute. Yeah, I love being around those
Oh,
people. Yeah,
yeah.
that's probably my big passion right now is just trying to make them happy in their last few years.
Oh, that is just such a special thing that you're doing. I I can relate to that a little bit. My parents are gone now, but I loved spending those last years with them. Just so special. What do you what do you do? And this maybe you may have just answered this too, but what do you like to do for fun when you try to get away from it all and you have this little time for yourself and your husband? What do you do?
Oh, I love traveling. The more
Yeah.
I can travel, the happier I am, actually. I think our trip to every February we get the car all done up, and we just bought a nice new Highlander this year, so we're really looking forward to the trip this year because we've got this TV thingy in the dash so that we can look at the GPS
Oh,
and you know.
uh-huh.
So I love that trip to Casa Grande. You know, it takes about 4.5, well, 3.5 days. And we eat junk food all the way, and we stay at hotels, and we just have a wonderful time. And I take my laptop, plug it into the car, and work while we're driving, so I just keep myself busy. But it's just being together and doing it. And then we always rent a house when we get down there, and just enjoy being together and away from the regular norming.
The countryside and just driving and talking, and
Mm-hmm.
enjoying, taking it all in. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So, do you have a favorite, what I call 10 minutes in Tinseltown? I always ask my guests if you have a favorite hot spot, like a Hollywood hot spot, like where you would go to be seen and to see the other, superstars like yourself. Where would you? It could be
Oh.
fictional even. I'll give you that just because you're so special. Where you?
Actually, it doesn't have to be fictional. One of my favorite conventions that I go to, I didn't this year because the brides were coming out in October, but I really love Emerald City. It's a convention of writers there in Seattle.
Okay.
And you know,
Okay.
they do an incredible job at putting the convention on for authors. It's a fun place to go, and it's 3 days. And you know, you get to talk to other authors about something you love, and you network yourself crazy, and you party, and you just have a wonderful time. So it's a fun
You
thing.
get
I
to.
enjoy that.
Mm. Do they have like a night like parties where you dress up and stuff, and then dinners and
They,
things,
yeah, they do. Yeah.
cocktail parties?
And you make your own. You sort of
Fun.
get a whole bunch of friends that you know are going to be there, and then you arrange to have one big room, or you all go out for dinner in one of the nightclubs, and so it's a really fun time.
Well, if that just sounds like a great, I love doing that too. That's really cool. We have a lot in common.
I know.
I like going to travel, and I like going to conventions and meeting people and being around people who have the same interests that I have, and we could just be yourself, like completely your true self. You're not trying to fit in or anything because you are just who you are, and everyone else, wants to know about it. And I love that. I love that. What was that phrase that you said that, let me think, you were, no, I think you said cranked up. You get cranked up, or you get worked up about your work, and like, so what really charges you? What's your favorite thing to do or write?
Uh, my favorite thing to write?
Or just what
Uh,
makes you really shine?
okay, what makes me really shine? Hmm. I, I don't know. I guess
Just
just you know what makes me really shine? I'll tell you. I read when I if I get very overworked and I get stressed out, or if I get sad for some reason, I'll read my reviews that people write. And my goodness, I'll tell you, does that ever make a person feel good? I mean, maybe it's like you're sitting there patting your back, like, oh my goodness, I'm so good because you read these reviews, but people have actually written them and taken the time, and I know a lot of them are heartfelt because they're written so beautifully. My goodness,
oh
boy, there isn't anything better than that for an author, as far as I'm
yeah.
concerned anyway. Boy, that's special.
Wow, I call that warm fuzzies. You like to once in a
I'm
while
a
you
warm,
need to
fuzzy
feel
old
warm
lady.
fuzzies. Well, I understand that you write a lot of steamy romance, though. Do you draw from experience on your steamy romance?
You cheeky little thing.
Ah, it's Hollywood, you
Sure I
know.
do. Sure I do, of course. You know what? The
Uh,
romance to me is, how can you write a romance book if there's no sex scene in it? The suspense I
right.
don't go into a lot of detail because it's not that type of a, a genre. But I think for the other books, people really love to have a nice kind of a sex scene, not too graphic, but it's the emotion. I mean, when you build people up in this big romance, you've got them going page after page building this romance. It seems sort of wrong somehow not to give them the emotional final act. I don't know. It's just,
So,
it's life.
there's a lot of passion between your characters in those romance novels that you write about, and I mean, is that just a natural thing like everything else that you write about? I mean, I can't, I don't know if I could go there with the passion and also with like um, I guess the violence, if you're talking about that. Those are two, like the two extremes of really, that would be difficult for me, I think. Because, like I guess I haven't been able to go outside of myself enough. How do you
But
do
if you're
that?
a motivational helper, if you help people to try and live better or be better people, then you must see that extreme in normal living. You have to have had
That
some
may
kind of
be why, it just seems
experience.
so real. Right,
And you don't
right.
want to get,
Yeah.
does it bother you? Does it scare you to go there?
No, I'm fascinated by it. I guess maybe that's why I'm asking because it to me, having written just real life, it's kind of like how do you come up with that stuff and not just draw on the real life? I mean, you just have to be extremely creative to come up with constantly new stories, yet they're so relatable. It's a little,
Hmm.
it's interesting, it's intriguing to me. We'll see, because I'm fascinated and I have ideas and I want to do, to do fiction, but yeah, like real life is kind of scary,
It
you know.
is. It is. And that's probably why I love that happy ever after because, well, face it. I mean, you'll meet people all the time and they're either having relationships or they're married or they're just about to get married or and somehow or other they had a romance that brought them to that point, right? And that's all I'm doing. I'm
Hmm.
just writing that story of two people meeting and coming to the point where they're now a couple. To me, that's real life.
Yeah, yeah, that's neat. That's neat. Thank you so much. Do you have anything else you'd like to share or any questions for me?
Ah, gee. Yeah. You are married because you said you have a husband. Do you have children?
Yes, yes, I have three sons. We have three sons. I've been married 22
Wow.
years.
Oh,
I
three
have,
sons.
they're all teenagers. They're 14, 17, and 19.
But you must have
And
a
the
good
oldest
sense
is
of humor if they're all still, you haven't, done them in or anything.
are so good. They are really, really good boys, and my husband is an angel. And so they're really good. In fact, I was trying to convince my son that I wanted him to come back home. He's in college, and hadn't heard from him for a few days. So I sent him a text message. I love that we could do that. It's so easy,
Me too.
and asked how he's doing. So it's all he's really open with me. So it was like, well, I chipped my tooth playing football, and the car broke, and I had a midterm, and it's like all this stuff. And I'm like, wow, I guess I have a lot to catch up on. And I'm like, honey, you don't have to do that. You could come home. I would love for him to come home. But the real truth is I'm just so proud of him for dealing with all of those things and being independent, and I have to let go. But we're very close. We're a very close
Well,
family,
you
and
still
we're,
have two more. I only had one, so it was really hard when it got to that point where he wanted to leave me, as he was going out the door and me hanging onto his shoe and him dragging me across the floor. It was really, you know, but he comes home all the time. And I think to me, that's the most healthy relationship that you can have is when you have children who do leave, but they keep coming back,
yeah,
just for visiting,
yeah.
but they have to keep coming and getting a sort of I don't know, the same way I love to go and visit my mom and dad. I think it's important.
Mm.
It's so healthy.
Yes, yes, it's so nice, and we are so blessed, and really never take it for granted that we have this whole unit of a family, and we depend on each other for that love, and that we know we can count on it. I mean, these are things that I think my kids realized that their friends don't all have that, and so we try to be the parents to everybody and welcome everybody. But anyway, I think you have a really amazing sense of people and have a great gift in sharing those important issues that come out with your characters. And I want to thank you. Thank you for being on my show. Thank you for giving me the time, especially when you've had such a hectic couple of days and building up to your big launch of the Christmas Brides. And just thank you for sharing with me.
It's been an absolute pleasure. I've enjoyed this so much. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad. Well, now you can't say that you're a virgin anymore, Mimi, because you have been to Tinseltown. You have been on a video podcast live for the whole world to see. And one more thing that you've experienced, and thank you. So for all of my viewers out there, I want to make sure that you sign up for the newsletter on mimibarbour.com. And make sure that you find out all the new and exciting things that are happening with Mimi and her wonderful books. And we can find you at. Oh, you're welcome. We can find you the way I did on at Mimi Barbour on Twitter, and you're on all the social media sites, and you have your Facebook party tomorrow. I want to check into that.
So please do.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
hugs and kisses.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, well, go say hi to your hubby and have a wonderful night and rest well. And cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Do you remember how we know each other or kind of know each other?
No.
It started with Triber. It's okay. It's okay. Oh. It's through through Triber, through the readers and writers. And so we're in a tribe together, and there are a lot of authors and book readers that are on that tribe, and so we're basically friends through the Twitter sphere. Tweeters, Phil.